everyone. Welcome to Pivot with Dr. Malaika. I am your host, and I'm so excited to be with you today. Listen, so much is going on. This season is fire. We have so many amazing guests who are here to share their pivot experience. But today we have the Jacksons. We have Maurice Jackson and Rocki Jackson, a married couple, a married creative powerhouse who is here to talk about their pivot into their passion and what they're doing. We've got Rocki, who is a fashion designer, and Maurice, who is an artist, and they are parents. They are killing it. And I'm telling you, there is so much growth in what they're doing. And so I want them to share their pivot experience into what they're doing, this creative life they're in, as well as juggling everything. Look, we keeping it real up in here, okay? Because as you know, we are doing our passion, working our careers with families and, all the responsibilities that we have. So we always want to share strategies when we find that it's difficult to keep up with the pace. I'm excited to bring them here today. They are going to share who they are and what they know and what they don't know and what they've learned, what they can share with us here with the Pivot family. So, y'all, welcome the Jacksons.
Hey.
Y'all like that intro, right?
Yeah.
So listen, we have, I'm excited to have, I will say, Rocki, you were on, we talked about this off camera, but you were on before Pivot was video, it was purely audio.
Yes.
You were a guest and talking about, and I have two of your purses, honey.
Yeah.
I wore, one went to a wedding with me in the DC area. But you have expanded and doing some awesome things. But Maurice, I have known you since you were 18.
2005, almost 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you have always, since I've known you've been an artist, and you have expanded in what you do as an artist. And so I just thought it would be exciting to bring you both on to talk about that Black excellence that's taking place in the household there, the creative spirit that is among the household, and how you are working it, bringing it together, and still juggling parenthood, motherhood, fatherhood, familyhood, and just serving the community. I know that you all are serving the community as well. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how your business has expanded, how you've pivoted into So Sable, which is the name of your Fortune 500 business. Come on, Faith, come on here. And just where you are now versus where you were when we spoke. I guess it was about a year or two ago, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so when we spoke, I was discussing about me starting my brand, So Sable, and it started all from me having postpartum depression after having a severe third-degree tear with my first son, Trey, and me wanting to have an outlet in order to just get my mind off of things, not a dark path. So I was able to just start sewing. I'm a self-taught seamstress, and it has literally taken off since from there. So now we fast forward, we're in 2025 now. So about 2 years ago, I wanted to expand. While I love fashion and being a seamstress, I also was always interested in embroidery. Maurice definitely pushed me with the idea of it. I thought we were both going to do it together, but I think it was just his way of kind of pushing me into a different direction. At first, I wasn't sure because, I went to school for art. I didn't really care for it at that point in my life, but I never thought I would really be into graphic art in the way of embroidery. So I really just studied, did a lot of studying, a lot of research, and I fell in love with embroidery. I love creating and designing different ideas. Maurice gives me a lot of feedback, a lot of ideas. We really, feed off of one another. So I was able to now branch off and create another brand within my brand called Busy as a Mother Designs. And it's everything I can imagine and more. And there's so many ideas that God gives me through the middle of the night, throughout the day, and I just write it down. And and it takes off when I put it out there. So I would say that since we last spoke, I think everything has elevated, and I just want to no longer hold myself back. I remember before somebody was like, "Oh, well, you got to have like a certain like niche, like almost like I had to focus in on one thing." But I realized I don't have to do that. Like I can focus in on many things, and I can do whatever's on my mind and my heart, and just go from there. So I think since letting that go and being so focused on I have to do this, I have to do that, I can't do anything else, and now being able to do whatever I want, it's opened up so many doors, like so many doors.
I love that. There's a few things that you said that just I want to follow up on, but let's just talk to Maurice and just see. Maurice, this is your first time on the show, but you again talk about just being an artist, what that means to you, the impact you've been able to have on folks. I've seen your work, some of your work, just based on your Instagram, but you've expanded greatly since you were in college. So talk a little bit about how art became your job, this is my career, this is what I do, and just how opportunities, things that you've been able to do with it.
Well, first of all, it started off with me truly accepting like this is my gift.
Yes.
I think it was a struggle for me to really accept it, that I was an artist. Just to even say I was an artist, I would always, downplay and say, no, I'm just good at, drawing and painting, whatever. But I never considered myself an artist. It wasn't until actually 2011, I was just trying to find a way. Like, recently graduated college and just trying to figure out, like, what's going on in my life. Like, I just can't figure it out. Went to school for art. It's not working. I don't know what's going on. Me and a couple of friends put a play together at church. I just so happened to do a live painting, which is actually my first live painting I ever did during that play. And the reaction from the painting just spoke to me like, wow, this is it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I am an artist. I accepted that. And then once I fully accepted, yes, I'm an artist, I just expanded everything. If something came to me, I'm going to try it, figure it out. I went from just doing regular drawings on paper to doing paintings, to doing murals, to doing illustrations for books. Now do rugs. Like, I just, whatever involves art, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. But yeah, so that's been my life. And I feel like it's just so second nature to me. I fully identify myself as an artist in all I do. So if I'm not doing art, I don't feel like I'm not myself. So if I'm doing art, I feel lost. I just feel lost. And I think for us as a married couple, that was a bit of a struggle when we first got married at first, because I want to get locked into my art, but she wants me to spend time with her. And then when we had kids, that became a whole nother layer of that dynamic of me separating myself as an artist to becoming a family man, a husband, a dad. And it's finding some kind of balance within all of that. But overall, it was a big struggle. It still has its moments here and there, but I think overall we found a nice balance right now in our life, how we could juggle both family and our creative side. But yeah, so.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And, I do have a follow-up question. Why do you think it was tough to accept it? And I'm asking this because I feel like our world system will tell us that art is the side hustle and something else is the full-time job.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering was that pressure for you, or was that was it something else internal?
It was definitely internal.
Okay.
I think I consider myself, especially because of my art, as a perfectionist. So if it doesn't look right to me, I didn't want to take ownership of it. I'm like, nah, I did it, but I didn't do it. So you see, I'm like, nah, somebody did it, but I didn't do it. But I think it just really expanded, or pushed me to really expand in myself. Like, I got to challenge myself to be better. Like my wife mentioned, like she had to study when it came to doing embroidery. So I started looking at more resources, looking at other artists, seeing how they created things. I was like, let me try this technique, let me try this style. And then things became a lot easier for me after a while. Before it used to be a struggle. Like I could do a piece, I'm looking at the reference, I'm looking at the painting, and my eyes, it looks the same.
Right,
So
right.
it was just a lot of just back and forth and not getting it right. And I'm like, you know what, I can't. I know it became discouraging after a while. So once I figured it out, what my technique was, what my style was, everything else started to flow together. So, but like I said, but going back to that play, and like finally listening to God speak to me clearly and to say, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. I think everything from that moment just became a weight off my shoulder, and I no longer focus on the perfectionist side versus just, hey, this is my gift, just operating the gift, and then things will just flow together once you do that.
Nice. Rocki, something you said that really hit me, because this is the second time I've heard it this week. The whole idea of studying. And, you know, you went to school. Did you say you went to school for art as well?
Yeah, we both went to the same high school. I just let it go because I had a lot of bad experiences when I was there. But we both studied. We were both visual art majors at Kappa.
At Kappa. So it's something about, you both said it, but I want to touch on it with you, Rocki, the whole idea of studying, because I think a lot of times people don't realize that you still have to be a student. You know, you still have to learn, you still have to put in the work. Sometimes it's not doing, but it's learning. It's doing the research. It's what you said, Maurice, watching other people. Let me go and look and see what other people have done who might even be better, so that I can see how I need to improve. And so, so Rocki, when you say I had to study, did you find like I really had to stop doing and do some learning, pick up some ideas when it came to embroidery? Because you seem like you fell in love with it, but you also did the research, correct?
Absolutely. So I think with embroidery, it's the digitizing part. So everybody can see embroidery, whether it's on clothing, whether you have a patch or anything like that. But in order to get to that portion of having that actual artwork, you got to digitize it. And to digitize, it's a whole process. It's very intricate. I can take thread and move it from one place to another in order to see what location I want it at.
Right.
I choose what colors and the type of stitch. Like, you have satin, like all different type of styles. So in order to understand that, I couldn't dive right into it. I had to understand what I was doing. And, even Maurice can kind of like, I pull him in like, well, babe, how do you do this? And he really didn't know because he doesn't use it. He's a graphic artist and he uses other programs.
Right.
But digitizing is totally different. So it was definitely a point where I just said, okay, I have to invest in this. I have to teach myself how to do this in order for me to really see the fruit of it.
Right.
So it was definitely many nights where I just stayed up and I was just looking at different videos. And then the program I have, I was looking at all of the different courses that it came with in order to see, okay, how can I do this style? How can I do that? And then also looking at other people and how they were being able to be successful with it. And I feel like all of that is just hours and hours worth of the fruit of my labor of doing the foundation of it in order to see the actual product come to life. And I think that that's what a lot of people, when you're buying these products and you're thinking about the pricing and stuff, you also got to think about the time that it took for that person to learn this craft in order to produce. And I think that that's why Maurice always tells me about, set your price and don't hesitate on it. And I still struggle with that at times because it's like, oh, I don't want them to say no, but then I also know what goes into it.
Right.
Intricate design. So I got to a place now where I'm okay with saying a price. And if they're okay with it, that's fine. If they're not, then that's also fine because I know somebody else will pay for my worth and what I put in to do this job.
Sounds like you both have accepted your calling, purpose, passion, whatever we want to call it. But you've accepted it, you've done the work for it. So let's switch gears and talk about some opportunities. What are one or two opportunities that you are excited to share about, that just like blew your mind, that you had the opportunity to do this with your work? Let's start this time with Maurice.
Well, my first big opportunity just so happened to come after I lost a job.
Okay.
Hallelujah. But but in that moment, I was already exercising. Hey, if I'm going to trust God, let's see this. Let's see how trusting God in these moments really happens. So,
right.
Lost my job. Literally went home, put on Facebook, like, hey, like, I forgot what I wrote, but I know it involves something about I can see myself in the future being a full-time artist. Like, I know God's gonna make a way, something to that degree. And probably within 30 minutes, somebody called me and said, "Hey, we're looking for an illustrator."
Wow.
Like, cool. I said, "How much y'all?" She pretty much asked me, "How much you charge?" I said, "I just lost my job." I said, $500. $500, I'll do it, no problem. Which is at that time would have been the biggest payday for art anyway. She's like, $5? Nah, I'll be back. She called me back. She said, my boss thought that was too low. He's gonna pay you $100 a page. I said, how many pages is it? He's like 26 pages. I'm like, all right. Sounds good to me. So, but in that moment, it's like, wow, God, like, just my being just throwing out the request. You brought it back tenfold. And it was just a blessing. It was funny because I mentioned it because this is actually the book I did.
And that's right.
Back in 2013, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, 2013. 2013, I did this book. It was my first book I ever did. But that was the experience was amazing. Like, I struggled doing it. My computer, like, all the files just erased halfway through the project. So I had to redraw a lot of pages, but everything worked out at the end of the day. They flew me out to Atlanta. I did a book signing, flew me back. It was just, the experience was amazing.
And this is 30 minutes after you lost your job?
Yeah.
No, 30 minutes after you put it out there.
Yes.
Okay, now if that wasn't a sign.
God moved quickly with that.
You don't. Come on, he's very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've just been, ever since then, opportunities just been coming. I don't really seek them. They just come. And I just, at the end of the day, I like, God, I need provide for this, for that. Like, you might have bills to pay. Like, fast forward till recently, we had bills to pay. I'm looking for other job. Like, I need a second job. I'm about to be out. You know what? God, he ain't put me in this position just to be working all my life.
Right.
So literally got home. I said, God, I know you're going to make a way. The very next day, a guy who I did a mural for last year calls me and said, hey, here's my buddy. He looked for a mural too.
Wow.
And just that fast, like, I got the deposit. We were able to take care of what we had to take care of. And not only did a mural job open, the guy saw I had merchandise on. He's like, you made that? I said, yes, I made it. And ever since then, he probably put in like 4 or 5 orders just for merchandise. And I'm still not done the mural. So I still got to get the money for that. So just how God's going to operate in our lives, I just really trust in him.
Yes.
And I think for us as believers, it's like, hey, like, even if she has a moment of discouragement, like, baby, remember when I said, hey, God, make a way. The mural came through, this came through. Like, you got to do the same. So I think we just always able to feed off each other.
Absolutely.
And challenge each other's faith and say, you got to trust God in this moment. You can't get discouraged. You can't get worried. We both work for the government. Hey, we got to trust God to see it through because we still got a job. And that's just that steady reminder of, hey, we watching people left and right lose their job. But yeah, we're still working. We're still able to provide for a family. That's all God. So that's why having a believer as a wife or a spouse, somebody who's like-minded in that way, goes a long way as a creative person, especially because we struggle so much mentally at times. Yeah. Somebody in your corner who can uplift you in a positive way with just a simple sentence. I don't need much.
Right.
Like, just say God got us. And that alone could just trigger me back into my creative mode. So
I love that. I love that. So I do. And I have to say, I love how you're keeping it real because it's not always easy.
No.
And it doesn't always flow. And there's times when, like you said, and I'm sure as a wife, it's like, okay, lost your job. What we gonna do? I know. Listen, I don't. Okay, we can talk off camera. All right, Rocki. Talk a little bit about how your gift has made room for you. Okay, and how you've had what's like one of the opportunities that you are like, girl, that was God right there.
I was sitting here trying to think. I mean, I feel like one of the opportunities. I mean, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but when we came home, me and Maurice started vending at homecoming. So rewind. When I was at Lincoln, I went to Lincoln University, the first HBCU.
First HBCU. All right.
So when I went to Lincoln and graduated,
Okay.
I knew that, like, I always believed in Maurice as an artist. I always thought that he was amazing. I knew God was going to always work through him and do great things. But I also knew, I'm like, you are amazing, and we can be at homecoming selling things and putting ourselves out there. So fast forward, I just stepped out in faith and signed up for us to do homecoming, 2 years ago. And with doing that, we were selling different merchandise, a lot of his designs. And for me, I just was selling certain things that I was interested in. But I would say that a pivotal moment would be that night, the first night we came home. I posted a crew neck, a custom crew neck I made with my patches that I just started like really getting into. And it just blew up. I think that I had over like 60 orders after posting it, and I wasn't going to post it. Like I always battle with, should I post it? Should I not post it?
Right.
You get into the rhythm of, oh, how many likes you gonna get, the views, like I know that this is amazing, but are other people gonna, like, these are all of the things that sometimes go through my head, just as a human being. But something told me, like, just post it. So I posted it, and then from there it just took off, and I literally have been doing it since then. So nonetheless, I started off that year making them after homecoming, and then this year 2024 homecoming, we went back to Lincoln, did amazing. Like, God doubled the blessing from that.
Wow.
My design even elevated, and people came back. People that already bought stuff the year prior came back and wanted to buy it again. People were coming up to the table with it on, excited, and it just made my heart so full, because it's one thing if you go through, like, Alibaba and AliExpress, and you're buying things in bulk and the people are making it for you, you're reselling it. But it's something really special when you're able to create something from scratch, and that you put your heart and soul into, that people love, and that people spoke life over us. Like when we were at homecoming, the fact that they were like, oh my goodness, this is so different, this is unique, like, keep doing it. So, like, why are you not on Etsy? Your patches are amazing. Like, nobody else has this, like, your ideas. So I would say, like, from the moment of me just saying, you know what, I don't care what anybody will say. I don't care how many likes it gets or views. I'm just going to put it out there, and see where we're at now with how many people reach out to me still. Like, homecoming season isn't here, but like, they're like, I want to just support, or I have to get this. Can you please make me this? It's literally been life changing, like, and it just continues. And I just feel like every year it's just going to continue to increase and get bigger and bigger. I definitely think that moment of just stepping out in faith and just saying it doesn't matter what social media brings, like, I'm just going to put myself out there. It really changed the course of everything for us.
So do you see yourselves doing your businesses? Well, maybe, I guess, Rocki, do you see yourself doing your business full time? Well, you both said you have government jobs. So do you see yourself doing your art, your clothing, your fashion? Do you see it full time?
Eventually.
I think eventually. I think factors go into play, especially trying to be consistent. I mean, we have the kids, so, childcare, like a lot of bills don't change.
Right.
But, bringing in the money consistently, I think that would change the course of how we would move through life.
Yes.
But until we get to that point, I think that it will still remain how we are now, where we just make time for it at night after we're done with the kids. But I think eventually, like, once we can see the consistency, then I think it'll be an opportunity. I told him, I said, I envision when the label maker that I'm about to purchase, the thermal label printer, when it comes, that the labels are just coming out, and we just have orders that are just coming and just coming and coming. Because I've seen it done for other people, and God, he doesn't play favorite. So how he favored them is he's going to do the same for us.
Yes.
I definitely envision it happening and things growing. I just think that we also are learning in the process of what we need to do in order to get better. And I always tell that to Maurice, like, okay, well, we got to make sure, like, we're treating this like it is our full-time job. We're shipping things on time. We're getting back to people on time in regards to like pricing or inquiries and things like that. Because it's like, how can we expect God to bless us in a bigger manner if we're not taking care of the smaller things right now? So that's how I view it, because it's like, God, I want you to bless me and bless our business to expand. But he's like, okay, well, how did you treat these smaller orders that you had in the beginning? So I think that that's something that's really spoken volumes to me and how I approach my business, because I want to cherish each order, whether it's big or small.
So tell me where you think you see yourself in 10 years.
Well, I do feel I will probably be a lot closer to doing art full time to some degree. My challenge for this particular year was consistency, and that's all. I would just keep preaching myself, like, be consistent, because I would have stretches where I would be full blast art mode, and I would just like cold talk, just stop, and then bring it back up months later, and I'll stop.
Yeah.
Why don't I have like no flow? Like, I was doing great, so a lot of art, got money, and I just stopped. So for me, it's like, let's work on consistency, because I do so many things in art. I may not do the same thing all the time, but I'm just doing something art related. I might be doing a logo, or I might be doing digital paintings. I might be doing rugs, like whatever I'm doing. As long as it's creative, to stay in that zone, continue.
Yes.
So for me, I had to cut off commissions for a while. I just freely create. And if somebody want to buy it, great. If not, I don't care. I'm gonna continue to just create, because this is like, and it's still like me just ministering to the world with my gift. Like, just get it out there. You never know who's watching you. You never know who's looking at you.
Absolutely.
I don't get caught up in the numbers, whether it's on social media, whatever the case is. Like, I'll probably make more money than a lot of people who got tons of followers. Like, I had one buddy who had thousands of followers, and I told him, like, man, you're killing it right now. You gotta be like, in my mind, you gotta make a lot of money. He said, nah, still grind. I'm not making as much as I thought I would be, because I have all the followers.
Right.
Still got put in the work. So yeah, 10 years, I do feel like we're going to have to expand house-wise. Probably going to get in our own studio space.
Nice.
Because we're going to outgrow this place in no time. So we're going to get our own studio space. I do have a vision to actually have a property where it'll be like a creative suite. So not only will it be people who can live there, but the people who do live there all have a same creative passion. So I might have one location just for musicians, one location that might just be for artists, visual artists.
Right.
Because I think it's very important to be around people who share your passion.
Absolutely.
I have tons of friends, but the people I really connect with on a daily might be like 3 or 4 people who are artists.
Yes.
Always sharing ideas, always sharing inspiration with one another. I could be in a slump. I'll just be talking to my friend, and next all of a sudden, like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. I'm ready to create now, just because we're talking art. Like, just having that conversation automatically gets me back in my gear, just to get creative again. So it's very important. But yeah, 10 years, like I said, I run a property, real estate. Like I said, a bigger studio space, bigger house. It's all gonna happen. So we're just getting geared up for it now.
This is prep time.
Yes.
I love it. So do you agree, Rocki? Do you see yourself in 10 years in the same?
I agree. Absolutely. That we need, God is going to bless us with our single home and my pool that I told him that he has to get me. So he's going to be maintaining the pool. Yes, we will. It's with our single home. I see us with a studio space, especially because I feel like I told him, I said, babe, I was like, God has already given me the vision. I need a bigger machine. I'm going to have multiple machines to run our business. So I definitely see a lot of expansion happening within the next 10 years. Absolutely.
That's good. I love this. There are a lot of folks, I think that social media, TikTok, but I'm not necessarily on TikTok, but I know on Instagram, it creates a space for creatives, right? It provides the space for creatives who are creative in different ways. And so you see a lot of people out there who are sharing, you know, their creativity, whether it's in their speaking or just other abilities. But I love to be able to talk to, you know, up and coming fashion designers, artists who are out there together. That's what you don't, you know, you might see two singers who are married, right? You might see two pastors, right? But there, it isn't always that you see two artists who both studied art together and really that's in your home. I do have to ask you a question. Are you seeing that creativeness in the children? I know they're young, but do you see any one of them who's exhibiting a little bit of this creativity, or they see things differently in a creative way? Or is it too early?
To some degree, my oldest, I like to watch him like figure out things and put stuff together. Like
Okay, God bless you.
he likes to figure out things in that way, or he likes to be around me when I'm creating.
Okay,
the great helper.
He like, Daddy, can I paint? Can I draw? Like, so they're really like observant of what we do. So we're really mindful of that. So we want to make sure that we're doing things in front of them as much as possible.
Yeah.
Whether it's for them to pick up the creative gene or it's more so just them to see the hustle. Like, hey, this is how you work. This is how you get it done. You don't have to be all the way relying on just a job. There's been plenty of times where my job definitely ain't paying enough, but I was able to either double what my paycheck would have been, or you know, put it so much effort into making an extra paycheck for myself where I'm not tripping about what's going on at work. You know, I had coworkers that are tripping about what if we lose our job, if this happened, what this happened. I'm cool. Like, I got a gift. I gotta make a way. So
right.
It's
and
all
peace
good.
that passes
Yeah,
all understanding.
I mean, both my boys, I think, are left-handed, so I'm left-handed too. So it's just interesting.
Oh wow!
No,
that's debatable.
Oh,
I was at one point in life, but I'm predominantly right. But they all catered to Maurice.
Left-handed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think Trey could probably be in the midst of like being an artist or creative a little bit.
Okay.
Trey, I think he's the singer of the family. Like he hit notes that I never knew existed. So
I love that. I love it. As we head now towards the end of our conversation, I do want to ask both of you one question. When you think of young couples out there, folks who are aspiring to really step into a creative place or step into their purpose or their passion, what is one thing what is one piece of advice that you would give folks out there who are searching, right? They know that this might be what they want to do, but there might be some fear, they might be apprehensive, or just life is lifing, and so they're just unsure. You know, what advice would you give folks out there in the Pivot family?
Well, for me, it was always about, well, for artist wise, it's like art was never about me making millions of dollars. It was about, hey, this is what I've always been passionate about doing. It's what I love to do. And I know I need to be doing it, but what is it that I'm supposed to do with it?
Right.
And I think that's a lot of people hesitation. They don't know, they know the purpose or they know their passion, but they don't know how to apply it in the world or in life in general.
Right.
For me, it's like, okay, God showed me a way, go to the source. He gave you the gift, and He's going to direct you with how to use your gift.
Right.
I think too many times we try to take it upon ourselves to try to make a way because of what we see out in the world. I see this person doing this, and he making a lot of money doing that. So let me go this way. Oh,
right.
That's working for me. Oh, let me go this way. That's not working for me. And then you get a place where you're kind of like stuck in the road. Like, God, which way you want to go?
Right.
I always treat it as God's my GPS system. Hey, sometimes you get off the track. Okay, you got to rely on the GPS to get you back on track. So God, show me a way. I'll follow your lead. And then we'll just go from there. So like just do something you're passionate about. Treat it as, hey, I can do this every day, regardless if I get paid or not.
Right.
And, like, because I love it so much. And I always try to shout her, like, people buy into your passion. And that's why I'm noticing more and more. It's not about how good you are. If you're passionate about it, more likely you're going to connect with people who just as passionate about it too.
Right.
And I started noticing that like people just love the fact that I'm passionate about doing art, and they just want to support it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So
yeah,
really tie into the fact that hey, this is my passion. I'm just showcasing it. And more importantly, showcase your art or showcase your passion. Don't hold it in. Don't hide it. Like I know talented singers, but they hide in it. No one knows you're a singer until I hear you sing. So
yes,
as creative, like we're creative. Let's show it to people. Let's show we're creative. And like I
right.
said, people buy into passion. So just stay passionate about something, and more likely somebody will buy into it.
Rocki, how about you? What's one piece of advice that you would give folks out there?
I would say that mothers are powerful and we can do anything we put our mind to. So I would say that if it's any idea that you have, just go for it, because the only thing that you can do is do it, right? You only can try. Like if you won't know the outcome unless you actually try it. And you will never know the blessing that's on the other side of you trying it unless you do it. And I feel like that speaks volumes for how I have, managed to go through my journey of being in fashion and embroidery. And it's just about trying and just going for it. And God will take care of the rest. He already has. It's just about us, having that faith in order to be able to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to thank you both for chopping it up with me today. These are the Jacksons, Rocki Jackson and Maurice Jackson. They are on Instagram. They are doing some great work. And I know that I will be in touch. Oh, come on, go be great. Okay, I'm just feeling something in my spirit. But I want to thank you for what you're doing. And here's what I've been saying. I feel like in February, we talk about the Black History greats. We know the people that we know, right? The people that easily come to mind. But I feel like what you all are doing and all of our guests are doing, you're contributing to Black history. You are contributing to the work that someone will read about one day. And so continue to be excellent, continue to, walk in what God is calling you to, and it will grow exponentially. It will grow exponentially. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Hold on. Don't go anywhere, y'all. Please get in touch with these two, Maurice Jackson, okay, at Kingdom Gifted 3__. And So Sable at so.sable. Thank you for joining Pivot with Dr. Malaika, where we talk to people who are intentionally or unexpectedly experiencing change in their life. They're pivoting, but they're still winning.